But yeah. So Star Trek 2009, good all around. I like J.J. Abrams a lot.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
yeah.
I mean,
Whoa, hang on. Sorry, there was a lens flare when we said his movie.
I mean, like he is TV guy, so that made me doubt his ability to actually do movies. But then he did Star Trek, and then he did Super 8, and then he did the new Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, TV guy can do movies.
Yeah, because Super 8
Awesome.
was fantastic.
Super 8 was super good.
Pun intended?
What?
Pun intended? You said Super 8 was super
Did I?
good. Yeah, you did.
Oh, that was no pun totally unintended. What else is Star Trek? Zoe Saldana. I always enjoyed her interpretation of Uhura.
Yeah, I actually
kind
like
of
what
kicks
they,
more ass than
I
the
like what they did
original
with Uhura.
Yeah.
I like what they did with all of the characters, I have to say, because Star Trek has always been one of the, well, at least the original series Next Generation, and to an extent Deep Space Nine, not so much Voyager or Enterprise, but we're not going to talk about them today. They've always had very memorable characters. Spock, Data, Geordi LaForge, Scotty, Dr. Crusher, Dr. Bones McCoy, Picard, and Kirk. Very memorable characters. And each one of them has a very distinct and unique personality. And I'm glad to see that they were able to do them justice. Not only replicate them, but change them in a way to... I mean, they're not carbon copies. They are different than their originals. But that's okay, because they're younger and it's a different series. And it's nice to see some change. I think one of my... I really, really, really love Simon Pegg as Scotty.
I was surprised at how much I liked him.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Simon Pegg. I do. I love Hot Fuzz. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I was like, Simon Pegg in Star Trek, I was like, you know, come on, really. Carl Urban is the most accurate to the original.
Yes.
And which I love.
Yeah.
Because that's a character you want to be the same.
In fact, the one I would say that is farthest from the original is Kirk himself. Because this Kirk is more... I think they're trying... This Kirk is more like the general population's interpretation of Kirk instead of what Kirk actually was. Because everybody's like, Kirk, he was really, really, not foolhardy, but what's the word I'm looking for? Reckless. Thank you. He was very reckless, and he was a ladies' man. He was always kind of like bluffing, but he always managed to get out. You know, kind of like a Han Solo-ish character. Mm-hmm. But I went back and I've seen some old episodes, and I have to say, original series is not my favorite. I prefer Next Generation, but I did go back and see some earlier episodes, and he wasn't that kind of on the nose. He wasn't that reckless. I mean, he was more reckless than Picard. But he wasn't as much as Chris Pine's performance. But that's not a bad thing. I actually really like Chris Pine's performance.
Chris Pine's awesome.
Because I felt that Kirk got more personality as he aged, and especially in the movies, he got more and more personality. I thought that in the Star Trek, the original Star Trek movies, this is going to get confusing. In the Star Trek movies starring the original cast, I felt that Captain Kirk had more of a personality than he did in a lot of the TV episodes. Not that he didn't have a personality, it's just it was kind of... it seemed that he was having a bit more fun with it.
Yeah.
And I can tell that Chris Pine's having a lot of fun with this performance, but he's also very, very good at portraying Kirk as... I don't know, a more emotional side. Like, he's not always joking. There are more serious moments to his performance.
Yeah.
Like in... there's a scene in Into Darkness where Chris Pine, where somebody dies, and Chris Pine is kind of dealing with the death, and it's very, very well done. I thought it was well acted.
Yeah, it was absolutely. No, we're going to take a quick break now.
Okay.
We'll be back in a minute, but for now, listen to these messages.
Do you find that MS Word, PowerPoint, or Excel are slowing you down with your assignments? Did you know that the Commons provides one-on-one tutorials free of charge to students, faculty, staff who are attending or working at Memorial? To find out more, you can visit the Commons on the second floor of the QE2 library, or visit us at our website, thecommons.mon.ca.
You're listening to 93.5 CHMR FM, Mon Radio, in stereo, baby!
And we're back.
That's never going to get old.
No, never. The Yeah, you're listening to 93.5 CHMR FM, and this is The Aperture, a weekly hour-long discussion of all topics geek culture. I am Rory DC.
And I'm Adam the Porch Knight.
And we are discussing Star Trek. Before the break, we were just talking about the 2009 Star Trek.
Yes.
Of course, J.J. Abrams. You know what? J.J. Abrams is just awesome at this point.
Yeah, and actually, I'm very, very hopeful because in case you didn't know, he's doing the next. He's slated to direct the next Star Wars movie after George Lucas handed it over to Disney. And I think he can do a good job because he said multiple times that, one, he was a bigger Star Wars fan than a Star Trek fan growing up, and the new Star Trek movie, he said, we tried to model it more after Star Wars and have it more kind of swashbuckling action. Yeah. And that's my only complaint with the new movies, is they're more an action movie instead of a drama, and Star Trek, was always more of a drama to my mind, or a character study, you know what I mean?
My complaint about the new movie, and my main complaint, so I sort of sat down. Now, I love the new movie.
You mean Into Darkness, or
Into Darkness?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's flat out. I mean, all the flaws. I'm going to mention some things that I thought were flaws, but let's face it, it's a cool movie. I really enjoyed watching it. A lot of fun. Great action. Really good action. The Peter Weller. That was my problem with this movie. He played old Admiral Man.
Admiral. I gotta stop snapping. Pike.
No, not Pike. Not Chris Pike.
I know. Admiral, evil Admiral dude.
Evil Admiral dude.
Let me see if I can find whatever.
Again,
his name
spoilers.
is.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, stop listening right now. But the dude is evil.
But it's not really. It's kind of like the evil Colonel from Avatar. Like, as soon as he enters, you're like, that dude's evil.
Well, that's the problem.
I'm here to keep you alive from everything that crawls and walks and squats in the mud.
Well, this is the thing. Is Star Trek is supposed to have. I don't know. I felt like at first I thought he wasn't simplistic enough, and then I thought he was a little too simplistic. Star Trek is supposed to have a little more complex villains, and for two villains was too many for me.
Yeah,
that's a little too much for Star Trek.
Who did you say played him?
Peter Weller, RoboCop.
Starfleet Admiral Alexander Marcus.
There we go. Oh yeah, because he's Carol Marcus,
who is the head of Starfleet in this.
Yes,
he's the ranking admiral.
Yeah, it's just it wasn't. I didn't want it wasn't Peter Weller I had the problem with as much as it was. Although, let's face it, it was an obviously evil casting, but it was the character. I didn't think the character was necessary. Take him out of the movie, please.
Sorry, did you know that Peter Weller was also in a movie called The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension?
Was he Buckaroo Banzai?
I think so.
So let me get this straight. He's played RoboCop, Buckaroo Banzai, and now Admiral Marcus.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe, is that a demotion? Or
I don't know. Apparently it's a cult classic, and let's see what the reviews for this movie are. Reception, got a 71 on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so I think it's probably one of those quirky movies.
Right, yeah. No, that's true, yeah.
Yeah,
because, of course, Repo Man has an 89, and while I quite like the movie, reception has been less than positive among my fellow audience.
Otto.
It's like the greatest scene in the movie.
Okay, so yeah.
But yeah, the new start, that was my primary problem with it. What did you say your problem was with the movie?
My problem with the movie was, with the 2009 movie, my only major problem was that it was I thought it could have been. It was a good movie, but if coming from just a movie standpoint, it was a very enjoyable movie, very good. Same with this one. Go see Star Trek Into Darkness. It is a good movie. You will not be disappointed. Even if you're not a Star Trek fan, you'll still probably like it.
Yeah.
But if you're coming at it from the point of view of a Trekkie, which we are, because we are.
Sure.
It might be a little bit disappointing because it lacks the emotional depth of, say, Wrath of Khan or First Contact or Undiscovered Country.
Or even, and I've always been a firm defender of Insurrection. And that movie had emotionality.
Honest to God, I thought you were gonna say Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the first one. I'm like,
oh
Rory,
no way, no, that movie is unbearable.
Yes,
I've actually tried to watch that. I didn't watch it for the longest time, and then I tried to watch it, and I couldn't get through it.
No, it's honestly one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It's really bad.
And that's the first Star Trek movie, the one that came out in the late 70s.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
yeah, starring William Shatner, the original cast. It was awful.
I actually quite like Nemesis too. It's just Nemesis was a little too evil for me. Again, it had that thing where you see Shinzon, you're like, that dude's obviously evil.
But I felt like Shinzon had more motivation to be evil
than Peter Weller did.
Than Peter Weller did, and even more than Nero did.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at least we kind of get where Shinzon's coming from.
They developed Shinzon.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. And to be sure, I don't actually think Nemesis is bad.
No. I actually thought it was a good kind of, like, anti-Picard. He was a very good anti-Picard, you know what I mean? But
but I thought it would have been improved had they let